Potential blockbuster offseason Cowboys deals. Would you make any of these, Zach?
Yeah, so this was kind of fun. I saw these that were predicting the biggest NFL trades that could happen this offseason. Now, these aren't specifically to the Cowboys, but I want to look through a Cowboys lens at them and say, like, okay, if you were the team receiving X player, would you want the Cowboys to get in on this type of deal? And we'll start at wide receiver. Now, I don't know that wide receiver is at the top of the Cowboys' list of priorities, but I do think they could use another weapon because Michael Gallup's a guy that we've talked about, maybe could be a cap casualty. You certainly have CeeDee Lamb, and I think Brandon Cooks still under contract for another year. But for the future of it, I mean, could you upgrade there? And a guy that could be on the move, now they've got a new head coach, and maybe he wants to stay put, is Davante Adams. Now, a projected trade here would be to the New York Jets, which I think is more likely than the Cowboys getting in the mix for a guy like Davante Adams to pay big money. But we keep saying, hey, are they going to be more aggressive this offseason? And the one way that they've done this is via trades. It's not necessarily in free agency. The Jets would get Davante Adams. The Raiders would give up their first-round pick, which is number 10 overall, or the Jets would give up their first-round pick, which is number 10 overall. So Davante Adams reuniting in this hypothetical situation with Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. But I think the asking price there, if a team weren't willing to give up a one that's higher than yours, 24 overall, would you be willing to part with the Cowboys' first-round pick for a Davante Adams?
No, I don't think the Cowboys are in a position to do that, but I can understand the Jets going all in. You know, like that's a team who's trying to win a Super Bowl basically in the next year or two. As long as they have Rodgers, that certainly makes Rodgers happy. We know that Rodgers is reportedly trying to get in a little bit more on the team building aspect of this and trying to put his 2 cents in there on who to get and things like that. You know, a guy like Davante Adams. I mean, that'd be pretty fun to watch Rodgers back with Adams, already having Garrett Wilson, who's one of the better young receivers in the league as well. So I could see the Jets making this move, but if the Cowboys, it wouldn't make any sense for the Cowboys.
I mean, Davante Adams has said CeeDee Lamb is one of his favorite receivers to watch. So they do have a friendship, I believe. So I think they'd be kind of cool. But I'm with you. I mean, I think big picture, I don't see the Cowboys doing this but for our purposes, I think that could be a blast.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. You know, I would love to see them build a running game and get 2-star wide receivers and put Dak in a similar situation to what Jalen Hurts had with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that would be exceptional. But for realistic purposes, it would probably have to start with CD demanding out. Just saying, I want to go to Houston or wherever, and I'm not playing another game for the Cowboys. And at that point, you're thinking about, hey, let's trade CD and get some picks for him, and then, you know, send one of those picks for Davante Adams. We'll be in good shape. I think next year Davante is, you know, probably still in the conversation for top 3. It'd be a significant future downgrading though. Wolchuk. I mean, he's almost at the end of his career, and CD's just getting started in his prime.
The age and the numbers, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be looking to move on from CD for him. It would be, hey, add another weapon, and maybe there's some cost affecting that. You know, the Raiders, if they just want to move on, they take some of that contract. That's the only way that would happen for the Cowboys. But gosh, that'd be fun for a reunion with Rodgers.
I'd give him pick 56.
Give him a second rounder.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is, and I would only do it for a second round pick. And the thing about it is, the Jets have already. I was thinking, well, okay, where's the Jets' second round pick? Well, they've already sent that to Green Bay as part of the Aaron Rodgers trade. So the Jets don't have a second-round pick. So I wouldn't do it for 10. I would have done it for 41, but they don't have 41 anymore.
Right.
And I don't think the Raiders are going to do it for 72. So I think that would probably be a...
The Cowboys have done wild things with receivers. I mean, you talk about some of the crazy stuff. Oh, no, one of that was the Joey Galloway trade.
They've done Roy Williams.
Roy Williams even more recently.
3, yeah.
So let's just stay with receivers for a second. What about a guy that they did call about a year ago, and that would be Jerry Jeudy. Now, Jeudy, I mean, it seems like Sean Payton's trying to clean house there. This hypothetical trade is right around where the Cowboys are. It would be Jerry Jeudy to the Cleveland Browns for the Browns' second overall pick, which is 54. Their second rounder, yeah. Cowboys is 56.
Yep.
So would you be willing, let's say, if the Browns said, or the Broncos said, we'll take your second rounder for Jerry Jeudy, are you in on that? Is that an upgrade you'd be interested in?
Nope. I throw him 85. If I'm the Browns, I don't give him a second round pick for Jerry Jeudy.
I don't either.
I try and give him a third. And so that would be pick 85. If you're interested in the Cowboys doing that, that would be pick 87.
Okay. And I'd be in on a third.
Yeah,
but I just think the draft every year, it's so deep at receiver.
Yep.
And Jerry Jeudy's been a little bit disappointing.
Yes.
And he's the same year as CeeDee Lamb. So he's another guy that probably going to have to look at getting a contract. Here's a dude that I would be all in on. And it's in the division, but we've seen the Commanders make trades within the division before. This is a Jonathan Allen trade. Now, in this scenario, he's going to the Green Bay Packers for a second and a fourth round pick. The Packers' second round pick is number 41 overall. Their fourth rounder, which the Cowboys don't have right now because they traded theirs to Trey Lance, is number 125.
So I would try and hold them up on this one. If you want my second round pick, I will give you my own pick. My own pick is at 58. I'm keeping 41. I'm not giving you 41. I'll take the player. I'll give you 58, and we'll see what we can do from there. But I'm not giving you the Jets pick at 41. That's why I wouldn't. I'm not doing that. If I'm the Packers, see, because the Commanders would probably like this, but you could probably convince them to do it. They've got pick 40 right ahead of you. So, you could say, well, we'd like to have back-to-back picks. I'm saying, no, man, you've already got a pick at 40. I will give you pick 58, and we can call this a day.
For Jonathan Allen, I do that in a heartbeat. There's some good D tackles in this class. The two from Texas, Murphy and Sweat, and then I like Newton a lot from Illinois. We talked today on the draft show. There's this kid, Gerard Taylor from Miami.
Yes.
That's an interesting player. Lawrence Taylor, the third. But, man, Jonathan Allen's special, and he is a plug-and-play guy right now. You know what he is. He's one of the best in the sport. That's a dude that can impact your defensive line and I think really, really help you.
Yeah, and if we want to go that way of building on defense, it kind of stinks that we got to be looking at defensive tackle, but go right to the top of the pecking order.
Well, that middle defense hadn't been very good. I mean, you got to tell me what the plan is for Mozzie Smith, please.
Yeah.
So did Osa not play well at all?
Osa had one of those.
He was great the first half of the season.
Osa's had this happen to him a couple of different times now, where he's played very well early and then has just kind of wore down at the end. So it's happened to him a couple different times. I think you'd have to be a little bit concerned by that.
Quarterback, I just don't see the Cowboys being interested in. This would
not with Trey Lance here.
Yeah, Justin Fields trade. Okay, so if you're Atlanta, because we're going to take the Cowboys out of this one, I got some other players we can get back to maybe if you're interested in the Cowboys. But Justin Fields to the Falcons for a second-round pick, 43 overall. And if I'm Atlanta, I mean, he did start his career at Georgia before transferring to Ohio State. I would be all in on that. I mean, you're Atlanta, you need a quarterback, and that's a massive upgrade over what you've got with Ritter and Heineke.
So you're telling me at 8 we're not taking a quarterback then, right?
They would not take a quarterback at 8 if they traded 43 for Fields.
What are we doing? We taking wide receiver there?
Wide receiver or offensive tackle?
Offensive tackle. Could get a good one there. You could clearly get a good offensive. Man, maybe Dane was talking about he didn't feel like that the tackle stretched as far into the second round.
Not into the second. I think
because we were talking about the BYU kid and stuff like that.
There'll be a run.
Yeah. If you draft a skill guy or offensive lineman at 8, 43 seems like a pretty reasonable deal.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
All right, you want a runner, Gavin?
Yes.
Here's a name for you.
Come on, let's make a trade for one.
This is a guy that certainly the contract would be interesting on this, and he's more money than most teams probably want to spend, but maybe you could help out New Orleans in a way here, and he's still very productive. What do you think about trying to pursue Alvin Kamara via trade?
He seems like he must be about 32 or 33 by now. He's only 28, but he's been in the NFL for so long.
He's had some suspensions.
How about the injury history too? What are we doing there now? Haven't we been banged up here as of late?
I think he got suspended for that fight that he had in Vegas. The injuries with him, I feel like he is an injury.
He hasn't missed more than 4 games at any
really?
point.
I thought
he usually plays through injuries.
I thought he was really becoming a banged up guy.
Your biggest problem is the last 3 years it's gone 3.7, 4.0, and 3.9 yards per attempt. His career started incredible.
It did. He's a big reception guy.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while this year, he was kind of Derrick Carr's best friend. Just check down Moses over here. I'm going to catch it.
Still getting good targets
and 10 catches
and making
for
the catches, but
I like that, dude. Check down Moses.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm in a running game, Moses. I'm trying to get creative.
Yeah.
I don't have a 4th round pick right now. I'm talking about Dallas. So I'm kind of thinking like I'm earmarking 87, that 3rd round pick. I'm going to try and drop that thing and get a 4. But I'm still picking the round is what I'm going to try and do. But I don't have a 4th round pick right now, so I can't make any trades like that.
Okay.
Because I would probably give up a 3 to do something like that, but I don't have a 4.
That would be a terrible trade. A 3rd round pick for a guy who's going to get you 3.9 yards in attempt.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. People, they probably would want more.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna need pick 87 to move, because I'm gonna need to move it to get a 4. I need to have a pick on that third day is what I need.
I want to give you a blockbuster move here at defensive end. This is another injury guy, but hell, when he plays, he's awesome. 28 years old, Joey Bosa, who might be on the market from the Chargers. You pair Joey Bosa and Michael Parsons, you maybe have the best pass rushing duo in the National Football League.
Yeah,
would that entice you at all to pursue a Joey Bosa?
Yeah, we got to look at his game logs, dude.
7 games a year.
He is injured guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out exactly how injured guy, and it's always a groin, isn't it?
Abdominal tear, something
there
like
you
that.
Go.
Something.
Yeah.
He's always got these weird injuries. Yeah.
Let's see here.
And I'm not trying to make strengths bigger strengths. I think this offseason, I really want to address the weaknesses.
So the Chargers would be interested in doing this because they can save $22 million against next year's cap by trading him. But June 1st.
You take on that.
You're gonna take on some of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out on him based on taking on some of that financial stuff and the injury situation. I mean, he's had three seasons where he's played where he played every game. But his last 2 years are starting 9 games and starting 5 games. So I'd probably be out on that. But I mean, I don't know what the situation would be like for them, how much they could save moving on from him. You know, maybe he ends up being a casualty because their cap situation is absolutely bleeped.
Yep.
And they're having obviously an overhaul with the coaching staff. Like, you might get some guys that just get outright cut from that Chargers team, because I think they're like $45 million over the cap as it stands right now.
Yeah, and the only other guy that's paid more on the team is Khalil Mack, who is also an edge rusher. And yeah, I mean, they would eat a lot of dead cap, but they'd save the $22 million, as I mentioned, if they moved him. So that'd be interesting. The last one, and this would also be another receiver, and this is also a guy that's coming off of a season-ending injury. But again, like, that's why these players are available during trades. Would you want to go ahead and make a move for some of these guys and hope, hey, let's catch lightning in a barrel? This is the final year of his contract as well. But what about a Mike Williams from the Chargers? Big body, and it's a different skill set than what you currently have in your receiver room right now. 2021 was incredible for him. 76 catches, 1,146 yards. Then he signed a new contract.
Yeah. The guy who's got you can really only afford to legitimately pay, I believe, one wide receiver.
And you would get him here on his final year of his deal, so it's a contract year. So you're hopefully not giving up a ton.
Okay. But
you're getting a guy that maybe looks to go ball out, and if he leaves in free agency, then okay. Maybe you can then get a comp pick for him.
Yeah.
I mean, those are interesting ideas. I feel like they're set at wide receiver. I didn't hear any linebackers in that list.
There's no linebackers listed. Honestly, a lot of the linebackers are going to be free agents unless they re-sign with their teams. There's not a lot of guys on the trade market for linebackers. That's one where they'd want to attack that via free agency.
Yeah.
So the guys that are really available would be maybe ends, wide receivers, a lot of receivers. I mean, Diggs, we've talked about before. He's on this list as well. But, man, you know, I was just interested in kind of what you guys thought about some of this, because it does seem like if the Cowboys are making moves, it's via trade. Yeah. And they do like to trade for receivers, even if we don't think that's a need.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that's something that they're into.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's notable that they don't really know how to team build because they left their teams without linebackers. They don't realize that they should get better at running the ball. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them draft for positions of redundancy or sign players that they don't really need. For me, it's don't re-sign Biotish, find a center in free agency or draft, get a runner in his prime that can make the offensive line better, not just take the holes that they give him. And then you need 2 good linebackers. And if you want to tell me Overshown can be one of them, I'm kind of listening to that, although that's a pretty big injury to come back from and be great after no experience in the actual NFL. So I kind of feel like you need to draft another linebacker in the first 2 days and then go sign or trade for one that's established as good. And that shouldn't break the bank too much, you know? I think they need to adjust their philosophy slightly to spend more and actually borrow from the future a little bit. But I think it's only a medium-sized compromise to say, hey, what we've been doing isn't working. We got to spend more and get aggressive against the salary cap. But guys, all we need to do is shore up our running game and shore up our defense. And because the NFL is obsessed with passing and stopping the pass, these resources shouldn't cost us a lot. You know, it is a gift-wrapped, easy self-evaluation and self-scout and game plan. How do we finish the fight next year? Run the ball, stop the run. Nobody else is trying to do that other than like Dan Campbell in Tennessee. And Pete Carroll's out in Seattle, right? It is there for the taking once again with, I believe, the easiest manageable offseason in the NFL going into it. We'll see if the Cowboys even know what the questions on the test are.
We were talking about running backs earlier, and the 817 is upset that I don't want to bring Derrick Henry to town for what I presume is going to be, over $5 million per year for him here in free agency.
Sure.
He told me to go look up his stats, and one of my favorite things to do from time to time is look up Derrick Henry's stats, but from when he was in high school. And he had 1,400. When you add up, he's got his career rushing attempts in the NFL are over 2,000, okay? So that's the mileage. I don't even know what he had at Alabama, but I do know that in high school, he had 1,400 attempts on the ground. That's not even what he was receiving. That's not his total touches. So just from high school in the NFL on just carries, you're talking about like 3,500 carries on that body. And then you add on whatever receiving touches he's got there, plus whatever he had at Alabama. And you're talking about a guy who's got like 4,000 plus touches of the football over the course of his high school and college and NFL career. But his senior year in 2012, he had over 4,000 yards carried.
That's nuts.
And he was 9.2 yards per carry. He averaged 330 rushing yards per game.
Holy crap, that's amazing.
It's unreal.
He did pass the rule of 370 as well. That gets all runners other than like Eric Dickerson and Emmitt Smith. He hit 378 in 2020 at 5.4 yards per attempt, and since then his highest has been 4.4. That year cost him significantly. He'd been at 5 for 3 straight years, and they pushed him over 370, trying to make something big happen in 2020. Age was going to catch up with him anyway, but to that point, Chief, I think his size and speed will make him effective, even though, he's going to lose his wiggle that he was never great in that department. But just being that big and having your foot speed and being able to hit the hole with the power, 12 touchdowns this year. I think you're scoring more in the red zone with Derrick Henry.
Yes.
Maybe $5 million is the number, and if somebody's going to give him like a 3-year deal at $10 million at this point, I would be shocked. An older runner, I think this might be manageable. And for what the Cowboys need, short yardage, scoring in the red zone, he's the one veteran running back that I think could make sense, and I wouldn't react horribly to.
Yeah, I don't think he's lost it. I mean, these guys age overnight, so you never know when it just bottoms out on you, and you go from being respectable even this past season for him. He's lasted longer with the amount of carries on his body. He has lasted much longer than it seems like most of these running backs do these days.